I want to talk about what just came out on HBO and who is our featured, not guest. I wish he was our guest.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But our featured artist of the day.
Yes.
Actor Justin Long. And first, let's start with Barbarian real quick because it just came out on HBO Max.
Yeah. Yep,
and it's available to rent on like Amazon and but if you got HBO Max, you don't got to pay nothing. So that's where you need to watch it.
Yep.
First of all, I would like to say that Barbarian turned out to be a far different movie than I thought it was going to be. Like it sets up as like you think it's going to be kind of like more of a like maybe Justin Long or whoever. Actually, it wasn't even Justin Long at the beginning. It was the Skarsgård guy.
Yeah, it was
Pennywise. Yeah. So you automatically get a little creeped out.
I think they probably did that intentionally.
I think so. And so it seemed like maybe he was going to take this girl to this, they were sharing an Airbnb, which I would never like.
Yeah.
Well, the Airbnb I stayed at in New Orleans was like we had the room, but it was like a building. And so they had it. But like the way they had it, like they were both double booked.
Yeah. So I guess there was the management company had it ring out on multiple apps.
Yeah.
And like it just ended up accidentally double booking it.
Yeah. And so what seemed like was going to be like a creepy kind of like, thriller type movie or suspense type movie turns into like an off the walls crazy horror movie.
Yeah.
I believe Richard Brake is in it.
Yeah.
Which he was in 31.
31.
And not the Devil's Rejects, the one after, 3 from Hell.
Yeah. And also The Munsters.
Yes, he was.
Which he was in it. He was in Barbarian briefly, and they never really like wrapped his story up. I didn't think they kind of alluded to like he was like buying stuff for the monster, the mom monster.
Yeah. Well, here's what I gathered. But let's jump into real quick. We'll kind of lead everybody to why,
Okay, yeah, because that's like later on.
In the movie. But like basically they find a tunnel in this. Well, she finds like a room in a basement that looks like like they're shooting OnlyFans videos or torture videos or something because it's just got a bed and like
a camera
and a bucket. Yeah, and so she's freaked out, of course.
Yeah.
So she goes up, and the other guy is like, "I'll check it out." So he goes down there, and doesn't come back up. So she goes down there, and there's another one, and there's this tunnel that goes way down underneath. And so first off, right off the bat, I'm like, "Fuck no."
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gone down there in the first place, and I wouldn't have followed down whoever didn't come back.
Yep.
And that's when the movie just starts turning into something way different than you thought.
Yeah.
So you fast forward to Justin Long's introduction.
Yeah, which is hilarious.
Oh my gosh. So this is the thing about Justin Long is he can play like, because he's got like that kind looking face. He can play like the nicest guy in the whole world to like, and even kind of a schmuck.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like his character in like Waiting or something.
Yeah, or like New Girl. I don't know if you ever saw that. He's like basically a Boy Scout in that.
Yeah. And then he can play like a cocksucker, like just as easy. And golly, in this movie, he was not a good guy.
No.
He was embroiled he was an actor.
Yeah.
And he was embroiled in some controversy about, he was accused of rape, basically, and admitted later to, not that he wouldn't have called it that, but he was like, he basically said, I didn't stop when she told me to.
Yeah.
So we know he was guilty.
Right.
And so he's an asshole.
Yeah. He's like driving in his convertible, singing along with the radio, all like happy and sunshine. And then his like
gets that call.
Agent or whoever calls and mood shifts immediately.
Yeah. They're all like, we're dropping you. And it's awful. And so he owns this Airbnb or has like an ownership in it. And so he goes there to stay there because I think did he go to the city that girl lived in to talk to her?
No. So he called her. They were like, don't talk to her. Don't try to do anything. No, he left because he was going to need some money. Because basically like even his financial advisor was like, hey, so you're going to run out of money within like 3 months, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm dropping you as a client as well.
Right.
And so he's got all these properties that he has so that he's renting out. And so against the, you know, the advice of people saying don't leave the state.
Yeah.
He takes off to go try to sell these properties.
Oh, okay. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So, and then he's in the house.
Which if you're selling properties, that's not quick money.
No.
But
when you're desperate.
Yeah.
Like, well, this is like an investment that I can offload.
So he goes to the Airbnb, and I like kind of forgetting how he started finding the tunnels. Did that lady come out of the tunnels?
No,
finally?
they hadn't come out yet. The door was propped open with a chair, and there was a light on, and he was like, "What the fuck?" Like,
Okay,
probably concerned about the electricity bill is what my assumption was.
Yeah.
So he goes down there.
Oh yeah, because I remember he was down there like. This is how it was. He was measuring his property because the more property he could add on to it, the more money he was going to get.
That was what was funny to me is that he went down there, he saw this fucked up shit. He's like, "What the fuck?" And then the next scene is him measuring at his computer.
Yeah, like how much does a torture room add to my property?
Yeah, it's like, does a basement add square footage? Like, rather than being concerned about anything, he's concerned about like, oh shit, I could make more money off of this.
Yeah, that was it. And so like he's measuring down in the tunnels. Oh my god. So I think that's when he runs into the monster lady, right? Yeah.
Like he's measuring the tape and then all of a sudden it's like starts like going off.
Yeah. So Richard Brake comes into it like in a flashback, and like you said, I thought that because Justin Long does go in like the tunnel, and the girl is down there with him, like down in the hole they put him in, because we see the monster lady and she's like treating them like babies. Yeah,
just like trying to get them to suck on her teat.
Yeah, and so at some point they try to get out, and Justin Long kind of makes a run for it through another section and runs across a dude that is like an old guy.
Okay,
and I thought that was Richard Brake,
current day.
Yeah,
that makes a lot more sense. See, in my mind, for whatever reason, I didn't realize that his parts were a flashback.
Oh yeah,
I thought that maybe like he lived on the other end of the tunnel.
No, like
that makes a lot more sense
because
he lived in that same house before the neighborhood went to shit.
Right.
Because he says like, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, because they're talking about how the neighborhood is
I feel
going.
dumb.
No, it's cool because I do that all the time.
That makes so much more sense. Okay.
So, but I wasn't sure, but I thought that was who he runs into.
Yeah, I think so.
And so what we find out is like they don't show it, but he's got videos where he's torturing people, and I think that this lady who seems like some kind of, like I say, I call her a monster lady, but I think she's just been inbred for years and years and years through the people he's kidnapped and tortured. And
I believe that's the case.
And who even knows, like, here's the thing that this movie didn't, they may have left it open for, we don't even know. There might have been more tunnels. There might have been more people down there, but this is just the first one they had come across.
Yeah.
And man, like I say, so the movie kind of goes from there, like, Justin Long's character is trying to escape, and I'll leave it at that. We'll kind of leave it. We won't spoil. I mean, we did spoilers, but we won't
completely spoil the whole ending.
Yeah, but man, I loved it.
I thought it was great. Yeah,
it was such a weird movie too for what people, because Cameo watched it.
Yeah,
Cameo, my Nerds to Men partner, and he doesn't watch a lot of horror movies, and I was like, wow, I can't believe you watched Barbarian. He's like, well, I thought it was going to be this one kind of movie, and I was like, yeah,
like a psychological thriller.
Yeah, exactly,
like a creature feature.
Yeah. And yeah, so it was pretty good. Yeah. I definitely dig it. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I do too. There was something about, I needed to look this up. The guy that directed it, I meant to take a note of this. He had something to do with, I believe it was Whitest Kids You Know. Yeah. So he did he directed a bunch of episodes of The Whitest Kid You Know.
Oh, really?
Which I thought was surprising, him coming from like a comedy world.
Yeah. Kind of like Jordan Peele.
Yeah. Zach Krieger or Kreger, however you pronounce it.
If you think about it, to me, like if you're a comedy writer or a horror writer, I feel like there might be a little bit of the same kind of formula in that, you know, you got the setup and then the payoff.
Yeah, it's like you're writing a joke, you're writing the setup and the punchline.
Yeah.
For horror, it's like kind of
the setup and the jump scare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, and it seems like there's a decent, well, and there's also opportunity to include some good comic relief in horror movies.
Yeah,
as well.
I did go back and I watched a few Justin Long horror movies over the weekend, including one that's newer. And I want to talk about some of those, but I want to read you this list real quick. It's Screen Rant.
Yep. And
they're talking about Justin Long's horror movies. They've ranked them worst to best. So you want to hear what they...
Sure.
They're the worst one, Yoga Hosers. And
I get it, but...
Yeah, it says, I'll just read you a little bit of the thing here. Yoga Hosers is a bad film, but it's not really Long's fault. The second film in Kevin Smith's bizarre True North trilogy is unfunny, low point in Smith's eclectic career and boasts a ludicrous storyline about two yoga-obsessed teenagers and their brush with Canadian Nazis.
The Bratzies.
Yeah, so...
I watched it a couple of nights ago, like in part... to prepare for this episode, because Justin Long's not like heavily featured in it.
No,
his role is hysterical, and in part for the Kevin Smith thing. But here's my view: it is a pretty, we'll say it's a pretty bad movie, like objectively. But if you think about the production of it, that kind of gives you a different perspective, because this is an opportunity for Kevin Smith to work with his daughter on set, as well as Johnny Depp and his daughter. So it's kind of this family affair. And, you know, it's a movie that Kevin Smith made for himself more than anybody else, I feel like.
I feel like the movie is supposed to be bad in a way. Right. Like
it's enjoyable to watch. I'll say that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I like Yoga Hosers.
I do too. And it's not like the finest piece of cinema ever created.
No, of course not.
But it's really like, especially if you smoke a little bit or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And you sit down and you pop it in. It had me cracking up.
Yeah, and so that's the thing is like there's room for all of this. There's room for super serious cinema, and you got those movies to watch.
Yeah.
But if you want to watch something stupid but enjoyable, this is the movie.
Yeah, and it had it was cool as far as like the way they stylized everything.
Yeah, it had like a punk rock feel to it.
Yeah, and it would like anytime a new character was introduced, it had like their like Instagram bio, which was kind of
the girls were funny.
Yeah. I mean, for 15-year-old girls in their first movie ever, they did a great job.
They did
under the circumstances.
I mean, to me, you just got to know it's stupid funny.
I think my least favorite part about Yoga Hosers is when they go down into like the German guy's bunker, and he's like, "I'm tired of using the German accents. I'll make something more comfortable." And then he just keeps like, he's like, "Oh, well, now I'm gonna do Pacino. Yeah, now I'm gonna do like." I thought that was a little over the top dumb.
Yeah, yeah.
It was funny, though. There was a little homage to Robin Hood Men in Tights. There's a part where Johnny Depp's character, the detective guy, his mole starts moving around his face. Yes. And by the end of it, there's just like a bunch of moles.
Yeah, that was funny. The second one was Ghost Team, which I don't know. I didn't see that one.
I haven't seen it.
Says it's not really a horror, but not really a comedy either. It makes this list by virtue of having ghosts in the title and vaguely following the story of amateur ghost hunters. So yeah, I never saw that one. And that's the thing, like Justin Long has like, I feel like he makes like 3 or 4 movies a year. Like he almost does like as much as Nicolas Cage, but he makes better movies.
Yeah. He's got like 109, I think, movies in his credits.
It says that Afterlife. Did you see this one?
No, but it has a lot of like really good actors and everything.
It says it's the first entry with its feet fully in the horror thriller genre. That's because Yoga Hosers wasn't fully a horror movie either. And this one is like where Justin Long isn't doing comedy. So this one is like, it's got Christina Ricci.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. This one, I need to probably check that one out.
Yeah, I would be down to watch that one too. I just like there was so many on the list that I had to kind of like pick a few.
Yeah,
and go with that.
The next is Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah,
this is one of the first things that I remember about Justin Long.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember which came first, this one or Waiting.
I think it was this one.
And then I remember, do you remember when he used to do the commercials for the computers?
The Apple, yeah.
Yeah.
I had forgotten about those, but there was something about one of these movies, he's like on a Mac, or there's like the featured in there.
That's funny. Well, Jeepers Creepers, that one is like, to me, one of the more traditional kind of horror movies he was in, because it started like a little bit of a franchise. I don't remember how many were made. Were there just the two, and then the recent remake?
I feel like there may be 4 in total.
Because I remember the first one was awesome. The second one, he wasn't really in. He had a cameo.
Yeah.
But I do remember that one. And then I don't think I saw the other one. But like the whole premise for it was a pretty cool premise. Is like a demon type entity that comes back like what, every 22 years or something like that. So there's a reboot of it that came out not too long ago, and I want to watch it, but it's available to rent on Prime, I think. And I'm just gonna hold out for a minute until it's But I gotta say, Justin Long in Jeepers Creepers, he doesn't play like an asshole in this movie.
Yeah,
he's just kind of like a typical young guy in the movie, but. Like, is there, like, does Justin Long play getting tortured the best, or, because, like I say, he makes you feel for him in a lot of ways, whether you don't like him, whether you do like him, but yeah, he does kind of, that's the thing, like, how great of an actor would you consider Justin Long?
I think he's really like a solid actor. It's not that he's like going off like a Daniel Day-Lewis type where he's doing like these extreme, like transformative roles. But like, as far as what he does in his craft, like he does such a great job of it. He has range. Yeah. He comes across very personable. It doesn't seem like robotic, like he's just reading a line. It feels like regardless of what situation he's in, it's a believable person. Well, but he's no Brad Pitt, I wouldn't say, as far as his career goes. Yeah,
but I'm trying to figure out like why, because he's you know what I mean? Is it just because he does like fun movies that like
probably so,
and like he does horror movies and he does Tusk.
Yeah, like
I mean, Brad Pitt does some weird stuff, like he did the Deadpool cameo, and he does something, but I don't know. I feel like Justin Long, and this isn't a knock on him, he's just more of your every man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he's a talented guy. He's probably, a handsome guy, but not like a 10. Yeah. But
not like a Thor or.
Yeah, right. So I wonder if that kind of limits him. But I feel like there's a lot of movies that, especially we'll talk about, that if he weren't in them, they might not be as good as they come off. Barbarian, I don't know if it would have been as good without Justin Long.
It would have definitely depended on who they got as that role.
Yeah, so like, I wonder if it's part of it's because back in the day it was a lot different too. Like if you were Hollywood, you didn't do like TV and you didn't do commercials. You know what I mean? And so he started off like in the Apple commercials. Right. So I wonder about kind of like that too. But it just kind of makes me wonder about like, why isn't he kind of a bigger status than he is? You know what I mean?
I would imagine it has to do with the fact that he does projects working with people that he enjoys working with and that he thinks are going to be interesting, rather than I need to be in a Marvel movie, or, because even like with Marvel movies, like their comic relief is Ant-Man, right? And he's a handsome man. Like all of their leading guys are hunky, handsome dudes. Yeah. Like all of them. Yeah. Even the funny ones, like even Chris Pratt, like he had a glow up to be in those kinds of movies.
Well, Jeepers Creepers was his first horror movie, and I think that one, set the stage for his career.
Yeah, basically. It was a great horror movie, especially for the times. Like I had it on DVD. I was in high school. Like I watched the shit out of it back then. And, I think the subsequent movies in the series kind of faltered and weren't quite as good. But
what I think is really funny here is that we're talking about these movies, Screen Rant, put them in worst to best. We're just now getting to Tusk.
Yeah.
Like, so they rank Tusk as better than Jeepers Creepers.
Okay.
So they got a
I can appreciate
sense of humor,
their
I guess.
sensibilities there. And I mean, gosh, I don't know. I'm just going to always be an advocate for that movie because, in my opinion, like the ingredients for making a good movie, it has those. It's got all the great comedy parts for the first half of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, like the exchange between those two characters doing their podcast and the whole situation with the guy cutting his leg off and then showing up at the funeral. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And then
it had like a little bit of like, it had some layers to it because his best friend podcast partner is banging his girl.
Yeah.
Which you watch out. This thing says it's incredibly difficult to watch, but a surprisingly good film. And I was like, that pretty much says it.
All right, that's fair. Yeah,
yeah,
but yeah, and then with the old dude, like, what's his name? Why do I having a brain fart? Is it Michael Parks?
Oh, the Michael Parks. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, his performance is incredible.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I think he was also in Red State, wasn't he? The other Kevin Smith, like Kevin Smith's first horror movie.
Okay, so when we do our movie, I gotta watch that because for whatever reason, I knew Kevin Smith did that movie, big fan, but I never watched Red State.
It's so different. Like, it's tonally just so different. It's much more of a traditional.
That's kind of what movie. I felt like. And I was like, I live in a red state. I don't want to watch a movie about a red state.
It's great. It's really good. I want to go back and watch it again.
Yeah, so I am going to before we do that one. Next on the list, I just watched this over the weekend. It just came out this year. House of Darkness.
Yep, I watched that one as well.
And what intrigued me, I watched the trailer, and it was saying that it's a reimagining of, and spoiler alerts, because this movie just come out. Spoilers. But it's like a reimagining of Dracula, which, yeah, I kind of saw that, but I was waiting for Dracula to come out, and
yeah, it was Nicolas Cage Dracula.
That'd be dope.
He's supposed to be playing Dracula.
Yeah, he was filming it in New Orleans when I was there last time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was like, man, I hope I see Nicolas Cage while I'm out here. Yeah, which we're gonna do a Nicolas Cage.
Need to
deep dive too. But House of Darkness was really good, I thought. And maybe we won't try to spoiler it all.
Yeah.
But it is it's like a mostly dialogue movie.
It is
though.
A very
like
very heavy
98% dialogue and 2% horror action.
Yeah, about 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah. But that was kind of what I dug about it, was just because and that's another thing that, like, I think that if that wasn't Justin Long in that movie, we might not be talking about it.
Yeah.
Of course, we wouldn't be talking about it during the Justin Long segment, but as a horror movie,
right?
I feel like he carries the movies because he's so good and believable in whatever character he's playing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it didn't get great reviews, I don't think, but yeah, he was fantastic in that, I thought, and he played a really good, like, this was kind of like the middle of the road version of, like, because we talked about him being able to play the super, like, Boy Scouty nice guy or a super asshole. And this one, he was kind of like in the gray area.
Yeah, he was. He was
kind of a dick, but, like, at the same time, like, behind closed doors, that's the way some dudes talk to each other.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He was kind of more like frat boy dick,
right?
Like, he wasn't really doing anything wrong, and at the end. He does have like a blow up where he's calling people bad names, but in the situation that he's in, you're kind of like,
I can't say that I wouldn't have done the same thing.
Yeah. So again, he's like the everyman in this one because it points out that within all of us, like, we're all kind of sometimes a dick and sometimes the nice guy.
Yeah, like that's like the theme, like at the very beginning, where she's just being very forthright and honest about everything, and he's like, well, like, saying like little white lie, like fibs.
Yeah,
like,
but then he would tell the truth.
Yeah,
without having been prompted too much. So he wasn't. It was. So yeah, I get what you're saying. I think that that's one of the, like I say, the quality about him is that we can see ourselves in him no matter what character he's playing.
And he played uncomfortable. Like you could tell his character was like kind of uncomfortable, but intrigued by the situation.
Yeah, there was one part where it reminded me of, did you see Get Him to the Greek?
Yeah.
I wanted him to be like, I'm negotiating a threesome.
Yeah.
The next on the list, I didn't get to watch this, but you watched it the other day. Creep Show, and it was Night of the Living Late Show.
Yeah, so it was an episode. They did a reboot of the Creep Show, which originally was what, a George Romero thing.
Yeah, which same was Tales from the Dorkside.
Yeah, he just had his hands in all the pies.
Yeah.
So this was, I think it was the last episode of season 2, and I won't spoil it in case you want to watch it. But basically, he plays this kind of inventor guy who makes this VR that's like more advanced than just like a VR headset. It's like super immersive to where it can, like whatever movie, you can pick your favorite movie and you'll be immersed into the movie. So it's an interesting idea. And like his wife's not about it because, like, you know, I don't want to spoil it
because he's doing it with porn.
No, just be like the whole setup and situation of their relationship, and it's got a great ending to it. And it was directed by Greg Nicotero, who was a really big special effects guy early on, and has had a really big hand in the Walking Dead series. He's directed a lot of the Walking Dead. He's responsible for like all the, you know, the monster makeup for that. He did makeup for Sin City. So I was like, wow, that's like pretty cool that he was directing that. And then it was written by Dana Gould, who, I don't know if you're familiar with Dana Gould.
That name does sound.
It's this guy. He's a comedian.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that was like, like a couple of names that are like not huge names, but like people that I'm familiar with. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. That they had a part to play. So it was pretty good. Like it was another anthology series. So I had cheated a little bit on the Tales from the Dorkside. But it was, you know, it was enjoyable, and definitely I would recommend checking it out. It's like a 45-minute episode. I guess the other episodes they do in that series are two-parters where like each episode has 2 different stories, but this one was just one consistent story.
Okay, so we're getting down to the last 2, and I'm starting to, like, I like this list, but I don't agree with the order at all as far as worst to best. So second was Barbarian.
Okay.
And then the best one, which this was a really good movie, but I don't remember it being like very Justin Long-centric as far as him being the star, but he was good in it.
Right.
Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah. Yeah. So
great movie. Sam Raimi directs it.
Right.
Who was the lady who was Alison Lohman?
Yeah, which she did some stuff and then kind of like dropped out of acting to kind of take care of her family and stuff, from what I read.
Yeah.
But she had a great performance, and I feel kind of bad for her because there was like a running thing that Sam Raimi would do where anytime there was like a big gross out scene, inevitably shit would get shot right in her face and in her mouth. Every single time.
That's funny.
Which Sam Raimi, like from what I understand, has some unusual sensibilities when it comes to stuff like that.
Visually, this movie was awesome. Like there was a lot of cool effects and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It was a little more slicker, I feel like, than, you know, back in the day, like Evil Dead and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
it was, but it does have that like essence of his style. Definitely peeks its head out.
Yeah, it definitely does.
And just for the time, it was like 2009 or whatever. Like that was the height of like 3D. So like you can watch movies like that. They did them with like some of the Resident Evil movies as well, where you can tell the parts that are like intentionally supposed to be 3D with like a thing kind of flying at you.
Yeah.
So that kind of takes you out of it. And then towards the end of the movie, there's some like special effects makeup like on their faces and stuff that is very dead-eyed. Like very much like, okay, this is definitely a Sam Raimi.
Definitely. I really enjoyed that one. If it were me, I would probably have Tusk and Jeepers Creepers probably at the top of my list.
Yeah.
Is there anything that they left off as you were kind of going through your Justin Long movies that I'm trying to think of any? Like, I just watched one the other day called The Wave. It wasn't a horror movie though, but it was a really trippy movie.
Yeah.
And that one's on Amazon Prime to watch.
There was only one, I think, that wasn't on that list. That was like, I'm not sure if it's an actual horror movie. I didn't watch it. More of like maybe a thriller or something. Let me see here. It's a Netflix movie, and now, of course, I can't find it. Oh, it's called Lavender. It came out in 2016. It says it's a horror thriller. I just didn't have time to get around to watching it. But it's like after discovering old fractures in her skull, a photographer recovering from amnesia becomes increasingly haunted by a sinister childhood secret. So it sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, sounds good.
But I also, like, I don't know. It seems like he's probably a similar situation from Drag Me to Hell, where he's not the star of it. He's just kind of a supporting character.
Right, right.
And he's going to be in the new Goosebumps iteration that's coming out. Apparently.
And he's going to be in Tusks.
Yeah. God, I hope that movie gets made. Even if it's garbage, I will still be so excited to watch that.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait.